Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another episode of the strategy series. This time we're going to talk about how to counter Towa. This is actually at the request of one of the subscribers, so shout out to you for requesting this video. And honestly, it's a video I should do just because it's been very popular lately. The deck's won like 2 to 3 events in a row now. It's a very popular deck, so probably want to know how to counter, right? So I should probably do this video. So we're gonna get into it, guys, but before we do, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with videos like this. If you are looking for a Dragon Ball Super community, make sure you check out the Discord in the description below. Excellent group of people. If you want to help the channel out or get more competitive content and tons of it, check out the Patreon in the description below. And finally, guys, if you want to buy any of these cards that are on this list, anything like that, or if you want to buy the Towa deck itself, make sure to use my link to TCG Player in the description below. Helps channel out a lot, doesn't cost you guys anything extra, so really appreciate it. Helps channel out a lot. With that being said, we'll get into this video. So when you're looking at countering Towa, a lot of these cards that you see on this list are going to be for clearing the Vegeta time regulator. So unfortunately, there's not a whole lot you can do to negate the Mira play. There's some things you can do to disrupt it, but there's not a whole lot you can do to like literally stop it from making you warp 3 and being an infinite double striker. There's just not much you can do to that. But one of the biggest things you want to do against Towa is deal with the Vegeta time regulator. That solves a few problems for you. One, it just clears a body off their board. It's a 15k relevant body. But the most important thing is that it stops their card advantage generating engine, right? So obviously, if you guys don't know what Vegeta time regulator does, what it does is every single time, or once per turn, I guess, when they overwhelm, they get to put 1 to 2 black cards to the bottom of their deck, and if they do, they get to draw a card. So on top of their unawakened Towa leader searching for a Mira or Fu, they get to search with the Vegeta time regulator, or sorry, draw with the Vegeta time regulator, and that becomes really important on their backside because they don't really generate card advantage just from Towa's backside. The Towa leader is not drawing the back, one of the biggest criticisms of the leader, but Vegeta time regulator kind of fixes that problem. So if you can keep time regulator off the board, your opponent's hand is just going to dwindle over time. You know, pretty much Towa has to charge every single turn so that they can keep making power plays, even like, you know, to 5-6 energy. They have to keep charging a lot of the time, so they're going to be dwindling in hand size if you can deal with the Vegeta time regulators. But we are going to go into other cards on this list that will help you do other things to Towa, like, you know, beat her in other ways, deal with other things. So we'll get into the list. So looking at the leader I have here, Son Goku, the legendary Super Saiyan, this is going to basically represent leaders that can go for game with things like double strike, triple strike, quadruple strike, whatever the case is. If you have a leader that has some type of game ending effect like double strike or like a crit or like a triple strike, that's going to be pretty big against Towa because Towa's God Strike effect, Towa's backside effect to remove a keyword skill, cannot touch leader cards. So whether that's going in on your leader with a further construction Champa, or like you're playing the Jiren leader with quadruple strike, all those things are going to be very beneficial for you. So that's going to be one way you can put on a lot of pressure if you're playing a leader that has that type of ability. Same thing with like Kraken Space Time, gives a leader double strike, so your opponent can't really interact with that in terms of like at least God striking it. Of course they can negate it, but you know, they can negate pretty much anything, so that's not really a factor. Then you have Awakening Talent Pan. This is basically going to consider all types of self-awakening cards, so like Intensifying Power Trunks, Newfound Power Son Gohan. What's really good about these cards is a lot of times Towa is not going to attack you until they start swinging with like crit beaters or they're really big mirrors. So what you want to do is use the 1-drop awakeners to do 2 things. One, apply early pressure because Towa doesn't really like to be pressured too much. The deck is very defensive once it flips, but it can't really deal with early aggro too well. They do have Supreme Kai of Time Disruptor, but they have to see it. They have to have the energy open for it. It means they didn't play a 1-drop turn 1, or it means they didn't play a time regulator turn 2 if they're doing it turn 2. So the curve gets a bit weird for them, and you're getting cards off your life and getting to a self-awaken point. So those are really important there. Desperate Measures, going to be a way to negate the play of a Vegeta time regulator. This is also going to allow you to recycle maybe one of your self-awakeners or one of your other battle cards. It's going to give you a lot of value in that matchup, so it's important. I'm looking at a few cards from the draft box, by the way, because they are very good. They're going to be out pretty soon, so they help you deal with that Towa matchup. So Kamehameha, same idea. It's just an activate main for 1 blue. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards when it costs 3 or less. Place it at the bottom of the owner's deck. So putting the time regulator at the bottom of the owner's deck is really good a lot of the time, because sometimes Towa can struggle with shuffling the deck if they're on their flip side, meaning that those Vegetas are probably never going to see play again. So we have Betrayal of the Master, similar to like Slumber Strike, but some Slumber Strike's a little bit better. But Betrayal of the Master basically lets you put a Mira back in your opponent's hand. Once they drop the Mira on you, they rip 3 cards out of your hand. The Betrayal of the Master basically gets rid of the threat for a cheap cost. I wouldn't necessarily say this is like the best way to do it, but it is a way to deal with that Mira. They can play it on you next turn for a really big single strike. But that's not going to be too threatening most of the time. A card like Slumber Strike is much better, but it's tied to green leaders because you can basically destroy a Mira if they play it, because it chooses 1 battle card with energy cost greater than or equal to their current energy and KOs it. Or you can choose a battle card 3 or less and KO it, so you can get rid of a time regulator. So this card actually seems like it's very, very good against Towa because of that dual purpose. You either deal with their biggest boss monster or you deal with their time regulators. I put Phantom Flame Cannon here to kind of represent hand control. I mean, against typical hand control, they can side and probably will side Mercenary Tau, so that can hurt. But if you're playing like a Hirudegarn deck with like the Hirudegarn engine, or a Hirudegarn Chain Zeno variant where you can Chain Zeno them and then like your leader will set them back a card, and then you have like Phantom Flame Cannon to follow up, that can be very strong. Group Leader Peel Off is a way to interact with Mirror Creator Absorbed. If they give it the crit and they swing with it, you peel off, you remove the crit, and you get 2 cards off your life. Because most of the time, when your opponent drops the first Mira, when your Towa opponent drops the first Mira, that's not going to end the game typically. Even a lot of times the second Mira won't end the game. That one probably is more likely to end the game, but the first Mira usually isn't going to end the game because they haven't put a lot of early pressure on you. If you're making sure you're at 4 life most of the game, you're going to be fine. So using that to alleviate that pressure and take that crit away can help. Shocking Death Ball, a negate that deals with time regulator, really good. Father Son Kamehameha, it is the the reverse power creep version of Slumber Strike, but it's generic to any leader as long as your deck plays green, so there's that. Family Kamehameha, just another card that deals with time regulator. Gallic Gun, again, another card that deals with time regulator. This also can interrupt most of their overwhelm plays, so a really good one to use with this is going to be the 3-drop Mira that they use to Union Absorb if they don't go for the 4-drop Mira. Is that all you got? Really good in certain situations where your opponent has 2 time regulators established. That's going to just, cost this card and pitch another red card. You kill 2 regulators. So that's really good because a lot of times if your opponent has 2 regulators on board, they're just generating way too much advantage. So that's really important. Transcendence Strike, again, just deals with time regulators. A lot of generic cards here that deal with time regulators. A common theme is that they are 1-drop extra cards, so it's pretty good for like cheap removal. There is another option like Sun Goten Family of Justice, but that's like a bit clunkier. Like, I don't know, it can be off color, like at least on color for most of these cards, like red, green, blue. There's ways to deal with these types of things. Revenge Death Ball, really good way to deal with the regulator again, of course, because it does minus 15k to a battle card. Also, if your opponent like improperly sequences their turn, let's just say like they play their 4-drop Mira. Sorry, it's a 5-drop that becomes a 4-drop when they have 10 in the warp. If they play that Mira and attack you with it, you can go like After Image Technique and then Revenge Death Ball it so that you can get it off the board before it actually Union Absorbs. So that's really good. Then you have Mutaito to deal with the Mirror Creator Absorbed, because pretty much most of the time when your opponent drops that Mirror Creator Absorbed, it's going to demand either like a negate or like a Mutaito type of effect, so you don't actually have to deal with that infinite double strike pressure. Because if that thing does not get negated, it's probably going to be guaranteed damage, because it's probably going to be like 100k before combos, so you do need to make sure you have ways to interact with that. Mafuba, same idea as before. If they swing with that 5-drop Mira before Union Absorbing, you can punish them for that. And you can also use this to just basically answer a Mirror Creator Absorb for like 2 turns. So that's really good. Creative Chart Yajirobe. Sometimes Towa can struggle dealing with blockers. So you have like this one. Yellow has a revenge blocker. You also have the generic Towa revenge blocker. So if they're not going to like spend their turn to play a Dimensional Banisher Fu to get rid of this, they can't answer it with Mass Sand Mysterious Warrior, because Mass Sand Mysterious Warrior cannot kill blockers. And then their Mirror Creator Absorb is just going to attack into a Yajirobe. So that's really good. Denial of Hope does deal with the 15k Mira that they want to Union Absorb with, so that's really good. It also kind of pairs hand in hand with the Apocal Grudge Grade A Baby, and this is a deck that I've been testing a lot, so it's something I'll do very often. So I'll establish my baby, and I'll always try and keep 2 energy up for the Dimensional Banisher Fu so that they can't deal with this. And it also is really good because like on a given turn, if they want to drop an Overwhelm to like bait the baby, I can Denial of Hope it, and then that Overwhelm technically has not been played yet, so my baby won't proc. And then like if they're forced to commit the 4 energy to that other Mira, that thing is just going to die to the baby because it just gets minus 20 and then it goes to 0 and then it leaves the board. Vegeta the Cruel, really good, again, because Towa doesn't like hand control too much, so you're picking at their hand, and then you can also deal with the 3-drop mirror they bring into play, or the time regulators, depending on what they're summoning. Further Instruction Champa. So I did already mention this with the leader, so if you put this on a leader and go all in, your opponent cannot remove the double strike. But what's also really important is, like, let's just say you go in with like a Dimensional Banisher Fu for game, or a Scientist Fu, whatever. If you attack with one of those, and then you Further Instruction Champa, your battle card will have 2 instances of double strike. So the Towa player can only remove 1 instance of double strike with that backside leader effect. They can't remove both instances of double strike with 1 effect. So you're still going to be swinging for 2 damage. That's really important to know. Champa the Trickster, we have that same Mutaito effect. And then I already talked about the Epochal Grudge Grade A Baby. So this was not a completely comprehensive list of all the cards that help against Towa. There are many, many, many cards that help you do this. If you guys have any better ideas, let me know in the comments below. This is always meant to be like a jumping off point, and it's really nice when the community kind of gets together and huddles up in the comments and gives the players more ideas. That's been really good in the past. So guys, if you have any more ideas on how to counter Towa, please let me know in the comments below. One of the main things I'll leave you with is go as wide as possible. Be as aggressive as possible, because they don't have a lot of good defensive tools. They have negates, they have time disruptor, and if they have super combos if they don't mill them, right? So that's something I'll leave you with, guys. Again, let me know if you have any better ideas in the comments below. If you want to grab any of these cards, use my link to TCG player in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Joey. This is Crossworld TCG, and I'll see you guys in the next video.